Welcome back to the Sporting Bears, the house of all sports. This is the sports extravaganza. You already know what it is. We have a brand new episode for you, which is going to be loaded with great information, great topics, a lot of updates and news from the sporting world. And obviously, we're going to be talking about football because we're heading into the championship games. NFC, AFC, both games are going to be amazing, or we hope that they are both going to be amazing. So stay tuned because we're going to be covering all of that and talking about all of those games and our predictions, of course, heading into the weekend. But yeah, before we go into that, you already know what it is. Go ahead and click the subscribe button, okay? We know you want to join the community. We are an awesome community. We're just starting on this thing. So help us bring this thing to what? To the moon or to whatever
another level. That's it. Yeah.
To another universe. Yeah, we're gonna
Yes.
build our. Yeah, this is the multiverse of sports. So basically,
Go ahead and subscribe.
yeah,
Go ahead.
drop comments, likes, share, all the good stuff. Follow us on socials. You already know what it is because again, we're gonna be bringing all of the important stuff to your house through this.
Yes, we have 3 games left for the season.
3 games left.
The big one and 2 championship games. This is going to be amazing. This is a great part of the season. We're going to have great games, as Dylan said. And we have other news also to cover that happened during these past days. So
Yep,
we're going to
yep.
have a lot of things to cover today. We're going to have a fun episode, I guess.
Yeah, it's gonna be again loaded as usual. So I think we should probably get rolling because again, I know you guys wanna see the good stuff already. So enough intro, enough all this bull jive. Let's just jump straight into it.
Yeah, let's go. So we're going to start today with everything related to football. As we mentioned before, we have 2 championship games happening on Sunday, actually, right?
Both of them, yeah.
Both of them are on Sunday. So don't forget to, put it in your
Yeah,
calendar
prepare.
and make sure
Prepare.
that you
just grab some
that
beers,
you're
get your food
ready
together. I
to
mean,
watch some good football.
yeah, it's gonna be amazing football. We already know that championship games are elite level football. This is the time of the
Yes.
year that we all love, and so, I mean, we expect nothing but greatness coming out of these 2 games.
Exactly. And we're gonna start actually with the NFC championship game, right?
Yeah.
Let's start with one that it's kind of difficult to predict, and I guess you were struggling with this one, right? We have the Niners facing the Lions,
Yeah.
and this is a tough one. This is a tough one. I know you struggle with this one. I know you didn't struggle with the other one, that's for sure. But I'm betting he struggled with this one. So let's go with this game. And before we go into the predictions and the scores that we are thinking, right, or what we think it's gonna happen, this game represents a lot for both teams, right? So we're
100%.
talking about 2 franchises that one that it's very consistent in the past years, and one that very consistent in the opposite way, I guess, right? For the last 20, 25, 30 years.
That's a good way
right?
of putting
So
it. Yeah, you're being positive with them. Yeah.
Yeah,
like
but
it.
it's a franchise that it's living an historic moment for them, right? So it's important that we analyze as well who needs to have a better game in terms of what's gonna happen on Sunday, right? We have a potential a potential player that it's missing the game, right? We're talking about Deebo Samuels, who's probably it's still questionable
Yeah,
to play
50-50,
on
I
Sunday.
think, still.
So taking the fact that he's going to be out, or most likely he's going to be out, who do you think will have to, step in and have a better game? I'm talking about Christian McCaffrey or the impact that Jared Goff needs to have on the offensive part for the Lions. What do you think?
Yeah, it's gonna be an interesting thing for the Niners. It's gonna be a tough loss. We talked about it the other day when we obviously realized during the game that Deebo Samuel got injured. We still don't know what's gonna happen. At the moment of recording this, it's still kind of a 50-50.
Yeah.
But I mean, it started to sound like he's not gonna be available. So, like you said, both teams will have obviously their own players have to step up their game and obviously come in strong and try to have their best performances possible. But I think from these two specifically, Christian and before I actually answer to that, it's funny that we that in the quarterback era, we are talking about McCaffrey, CMC, being the one that has to step in for Niners ahead of potentially Brock Purdy. But I think it's a fair thing to say that they will need McCaffrey to have a great one, right? Because establishing the run game for the Niners is going to be everything. If they manage to do that, and if the Detroit's defense is not able to stop them on the run, that's going to be the key factor for the Niners to be able to pull this one without Deebo Samuel, right? And so based on that potential player missing, I think McCaffrey needs to have the better game if the Niners wants to win. Nonetheless, I mean, we understand the story that's been the Lions the entire season, right? And obviously in the postseason, what this means for them. And I think that if the Lions want to have a chance to win this, because most of us agree that the Niners have the edge in regards of lineup, right? Like players,
for sure,
talent. We understand they have a lot of Pro Bowlers and all that. So if the Lions want to pull this one together, I think Goff is the one from these two that must, like absolutely must, have a great game for his team to win. Because I think that even if McCaffrey doesn't have like an extraordinary game running the ball, I mean, you cannot disqualify Brock Purdy at all, right? We understand that head-to-head, most of the people will go and say, well, actually, Goff is a better quarterback from these two. He has been in the Super Bowl before. So we understand all that. But we cannot simply say, I mean, that's it, right? If McCaffrey doesn't play, they're dead. I don't think that's necessarily the case. But if Goff on the other side is having a bad game, I think that's it for
the Lions. Yeah, I have to agree on that with you. For me, it's about Goff, because if he has a bad game, then the Lions won't have a weapon or a way or a strategy, right, to outscore the Niners. I don't think that's gonna happen if Goff it's not in his day. The other way, or on the other side, we have McCaffrey, and I agree with you as well on that. I mean, if he's not able to deliver on the running part for the Niners, or if maybe the offensive line is having a bad day and they are not,
creating this space,
those spaces and executing the game plan, because I guess it's going to be around McCaffrey more than Purdy, right? And we have talked about it as well. But if they're not able to do it, then they still have something left, that it's Brock Purdy, right? If that happens, if Brock Purdy needs to step up in this game, yes, he's going to have a lot of pressure, but it's going to be a different one than Jared Goff, right? Because if Jared Goff is not able to play well, then you don't have a lot of different things as the Niners to choose from, right?
Yeah.
You don't have a lot of weapons to choose from. So yes, I have to agree with you, but also on the same line, I would like to ask you, if the Niners lose because of Brock Purdy, because of the game he has on Sunday, it means they're going to be 3-0 for the third year in a row on the championship game. So if that happens, will they need the Niners to look for a different quarterback moving to next season, or thinking?
That's a really tough question. We saw what happened with Dallas. Again, I keep bringing on Dallas because it's a great I don't know, it's a great example.
It's a great
joke.
example.
It's a great joke. It's a great story.
Thank you, Dallas.
But it's gonna be, in my opinion, it's gonna be a similar situation there, because I mean, you gotta understand, and I think the list came out just today, actually, as we record this. The list of MVP candidates, it's already confirmed. So the top 5 guys is it's Lamar, obviously we know that. It's Josh Allen, is Christian McCaffrey, is Brock Purdy, and I'm missing someone. I can remember the fifth one. But anyways, both
Is
McCaffrey.
it not Mahomes?
It's not Mahomes.
He's not in top
that,
5.
Yeah,
That's
I
illegal. That's illegal.
I mean, that's great motivation for the Chiefs because they don't have Mahomes is not nominated for MVP nor Offensive Player of the Year. Andy Reid is not nominated for Coach of the Year. They don't have any kind of candidates to win.
Yeah, I mean,
individual awards.
I've said
this
it
year.
before, and we're gonna go into this game like later in the episode. But I mean, they haven't had the greatest season this year, but still, they're not a terrible team.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
they're not terrible.
And it's the same thing that we discussed the other day where, again, Mahomes and Josh Allen, when you look at the numbers, they have pretty similar numbers. Obviously, Josh Allen had by far a better running game than Mahomes this year because he normally does. But everything else is pretty similar, and yet Josh Allen is in the conversation and Mahomes is not. But anyways, it is what it is.
Interesting.
Going back to Brock Purdy.
Yeah.
So the reason I mentioned that is because, I mean, the year that he has had is, I mean, it's been good. Like, he's been nominated, and still we have a lot of doubts. We have a lot of criticism for the guy every time he doesn't deliver. And I think, again, we're being tougher than we maybe are with other players with Brock Purdy. And so I think if you were to ask me, because of the team they have built, if they lose because of him, I think they should look around, at least for the possibility of bringing somebody else, either through the draft, which, again, I don't believe is going to give them much because obviously they're not going to have a high draft pick.
No.
Or through a potential trade or a free agent, somebody that can even come in and just put pressure on him, like something, right? Do I believe they're going to do that even if they lose? Absolutely not. Okay. I think they're going to stick to Brock Purdy even if they lose. I mean, it has to be a complete devastating situation.
Yeah,
where
disaster,
he literally
basically.
like run the opposite way around and gave the ball to like whatever, like something like that must happen, right? Other than that, I don't think it's going to happen because, again, we saw what happened with that Prescott in Dallas. And I think it's just a similar situation, right? A lot of people doubt the guy. A lot of people don't think that he's going to take them to the next level and deliver the championship for them. And yet he's still there. And so I think it's going to be similar with Brock Purdy.
I think that there is a combination of things, right? Because with Dak Prescott, we're talking about a massive contract. And with Brock Purdy, we're not talking about that amount of money. Okay, that's just one point. But I see it differently in both teams. However, yes, I think it has to be a disaster for the Niners to start looking like for real or to go into the market, and try to look for a different quarterback because it's going to be tough as well. Again, you said it. In terms of draft, I don't think they're going to have a good chance to get a good quarterback, right? A good prospect. Yeah. They might need to sacrifice many, many things in order to get that position in the draft. And I don't think the market is going to be as open as they would like to, right?
Yeah,
because
who are you going to bring? Like,
exactly. I mean, if you're going to change, you need to bring someone that it's an A at least.
Yeah, it's somebody that is gonna elevate them for sure.
Exactly. It's going to be very difficult for them. If this happen, I think it's going to be a tough loss if they don't make it, because it's going to be the third in a row if that happens.
Because I mean,
right?
they brought McCaffrey for a reason.
Exactly, and I was also thinking that maybe we're going so hard on Purdy because of the team that he has. Maybe if we see this Brock Purdy in a different team, in a different lineup, we might be talking a little bit different about the situation. So I think the expectations are higher because of the team he's on right now. And we're talking about the Niners being a very consistent team throughout the last years. And maybe that's why we're going so hard on
Yeah, no, I understand that. Again, he has the support that's the support team around him that everybody wish they could have, right? Like you name Justin Herbert on this team or Trevor Lawrence on this team. Like any of those guys will wish they are in the position that Purdy
Of
is,
course,
because
yeah.
again, that team is pretty loaded. But he's still what a seventh. What is it? One of the seven? Is it 7th round pick? Was it
Yeah,
fifth,
he was
whatever it
seventh
is?
round.
Like,
Yeah, Mister Nowhere. No one.
I mean, and we have only seen one case like that, which
Yeah,
clearly we know
and it
it's
was one of a
that just
kind.
happens
And it was
once
one
in
of a
like
kind.
literally a century, right? So I think we have to be realistic, and I think again, I mentioned this before. Sometimes we don't give credit to the guy for the things that he did well throughout the year, and again, we punish him a lot when he doesn't deliver. And I think again, we need to find that balance where we go, okay, but even though you've missed or you fail on this specific situation, then all these other times you are delivering. And I think that's something that we should probably work on, because again, the guy has delivered in certain
Yeah, no, and I mean
circumstances.
he did really good things on that last drive, or the last drive they scored in the past game. You could see really nice things that he did, right,
Yeah, and
to keep the
something
drive
interesting
alive.
that I noticed in some of the statistics as well that I was checking earlier today. He actually gets better under pressure. It's so funny because
Yeah.
we talked about this the other day after when we were analyzing the result of the past weekend, and I told you like I just get nervous when I'm watching this guy because he seems to be pretty passive on reacting to the pressure and stuff like that. And yet his passing rating, his average yardage per play, like a lot of these things go up when he's under pressure, which
Yeah.
is interesting. And again, it speaks a little bit about the potential that the guy has. I understand the franchise will not have the patience necessarily to watch the guy go through 9 years or something, right?
No. I mean,
They have to
you
wait.
have the team right now.
Yeah.
You have to be able to win and go to the Super Bowl and win the Super Bowl right now, because you have the team right now.
Yeah. But again, I just wouldn't see them moving off him if they lose. I
Yeah.
think they'll run it again and try to.
Yeah. I agree. And NFL is about momentum for the teams. So if they want to take advantage of this momentum that the Niners have, they might need to go with in a different direction. I don't think it's possible, but it's something that might be there if they
It's
lose.
a
But
possibility. In one word, in one of these universes out there, it's probably it's probably gonna happen, right?
exactly. So tell me, what's your prediction on this one?
So your prediction about me having a hard time, yeah, it was accurate because I did have a very hard time, not necessarily deciding who was gonna win, but thinking about the actual score. I think that's what's harder to predict for me on this one. So I'm sticking to the Niners. I think I will have faith on them again.
Okay.
I know there is a big asterisk there, which is if Deebo Samuel is available. My prediction would have been easier for sure. That would have made my life way easier. But even if he's not available, I think they can still put
Pull it
something
off.
together and win this game. Again, McCaffrey is gonna be there. We understand all the other guys are gonna be there. The pass rush is still gonna be there. So Goff might not have a very easy night. So if all those things happen, I think the Niners will still be able to win. I think Brock Purdy is gonna have a decent game. I think again, based on the standards we have on him, I think he's gonna be able to deliver at least a decent game, and that's gonna be enough for them to win. Which again, I think it has to be a complete disaster of a performance from him for them to lose, and I just don't foresee that happening because of what I just told you. He seems to showcase kind of composure when he's under pressure somehow. And I think I'm having faith on that. So I'm saying the Niners are going to win this 28-21. And yeah, I'm
Pretty
sorry
similar.
for the Lions because it's a beautiful story and everything. I would love to see Eminem against Taylor Swift in the Super Bowl, but but I just don't think that's going to happen.
Yeah. I think it's gonna be hard for that to happen. I also have the Niners on my prediction. I have a 34-21 score for the Niners.
So you
Yeah,
have a
it's-
lot of faith in that offense, right?
Yes, I do more. Yes, of course, I do have a lot of faith on the offense, even though Deebo Samuel might not be there. But still, I think if we see the Niners before the bye week, we might see that score. So I'm hoping to see that team again.
Yeah, they
In the
recover
field.
the momentum after winning. Yeah, that could be the thing, and we'll see if Josh Kittle maybe becomes somewhat of an X factor as well. Maybe
Yeah.
now that Deebo Samuel is not going to be available, we get to see a little bit of the old version of Josh Kittle. We'll
You
see.
just mentioned something very interesting, and maybe that's gonna help us to move to the next game,
All right,
right?
what is it?
Because you just mentioned something very interesting, the X factor. And we have a game that it's very promising, that some sparks might be there, right? During the game, we might see a great game. We might see one of the greatest games probably we've seen in terms of championship games. We have two great quarterbacks, two great teams, one that it's like blowing it, right? Because the Ravens have been playing amazing
Yeah.
the whole season. The game against Texans, it was amazing. But it all comes down to the X factor in this game, because it's a very um, it's going to be a very tight game. So who do you think is going to be the X factor on this one?
Yeah, more than who, I think it's what needs to be the X factor, because it's a group in my case.
Okay.
The answer to this question, and I think the X factor, if Kansas wants to win this, it has to be the defense. The entire defense needs to show up, and somehow they need to reduce the amount of impact that Lamar has on his running game. I know that sounds like an impossible task already, because
Yeah.
we understand what Lamar is capable of doing. We saw it in the past game, 100 yards, like if it was nothing. And I know it's going to be a hard task, but that's why, in my opinion, the defense is the X factor. Because if the defense is slow down that running game somehow and force the guy to throw, we know he has become a better thrower, but that's not where he thrills, right? I mean, when he establishes the run, it's way easier for him to throw, right? But if he doesn't and he gets forced to throw more, that's when the defense might have a better chance. But in order to get there, you need to stop the guy first, right? When running. So I think that's going to be the key factor for me, because this Ravens team is just too strong in all of their units, right? We understand their defense is the highest scoring defense, I think, in the history, or at least in the recent history. They score a lot. But we also know that Mahomes doesn't throw the ball away in the playoffs.
Yes.
So
I don't know how he does it. But
it's
yeah.
gonna be an interesting matchup there. But Kansas defense needs to show up big time if the Chiefs wants to pull this one.
That's a good one. I mean, we've talked about the defense, right? The Kansas defense in specific, and how important they are to keep the team there, right? Close to the other team, or even to keep the team winning. So I think that's a good one. But for me, it all comes down to the final drive. Actually, I mean, for me, it's going to be if the Ravens are losing the game going into the fourth quarter, probably later in the fourth quarter, we might see Lamar Jackson throwing the ball. And if that happens under pressure, I think he's not there yet. And you said it before. We've seen Lamar improving the passing, game that he has, and he has become a little bit better on that, on making specific decisions when it's about throwing the ball. But the pressure of the championship game against Kansas City, you said it before, no one wants Mahomes in the field, and even more when you leave some time in the clock, and in a last drive, you don't want to see that, right? You don't want Mahomes to decide the game against you. That's not what you want. So if the Ravens are losing the game in the fourth quarter, I think that's going to be for the Chiefs. That's going to be the winning part for the Chiefs, and that's going to be the key factor, because I don't think Lamar will be able to keep on the consistency and keep on holding the pressure, like, and all those things. I don't think he's going to be able to do it. And also thinking that Mahomes is on the other side. That's not what you want. So for me, that's the key factor in that game.
Well, let's see how that ages, brother, because I know, Lamar has been shutting mouths the entire year. So
I hope so. I hope so.
Yeah,
because
we'll see.
Well, we'll talk about it.
We'll see what happens. But yeah, I think this game is just gonna be. And I'll tell you this off camera just before we started recording. I wish this could have been the Super Bowl matchup. Actually, imagine the type of Super Bowl that would be.
Yes,
The Ravens and the Chiefs, Lamar against Mahomes, potentially even a better rivalry building up here than Mahomes Allen, because we understand that Allen is just, he's losing his chance of actually making this the type of Peyton Brady rivalry that we saw.
Yeah.
I think Josh Allen doesn't have the accolades. We understand that Lamar is about to win his second MVP, because it's probably very, very possible that that's the case. And Mahomes already won, again, MVPs and Super Bowls. So I think that's closer to a Brady Manning rivalry than actually Josh Allen. But yeah, it's gonna be a crazy game. I think it's gonna be one of those.
Definitely, it's going to be one of those games. I'm sure. And that's why I said it before, right? It's going to be one of those games we're going to remember for decades. I hope so. I'm praying for that to happen.
Yeah.
Now, talking about rivalry and we talked also about the Niners, visiting the championship game for the third time in 3 years and all those things. So thinking about or thinking of these specific factors and in the teams that we have, the Chiefs and the Ravens, who do you think has more right now to lose in terms of, what the team means right now and the momentum also that we talked about? Who has more to lose?
I think it's the Ravens in general, but more specifically, I will go to Lamar Jackson. I wouldn't imagine that even if he loses this game or they lose this game, that's going to be it for the guy. Of course, he's going to have more chances to coming back. Again, we saw it with Peyton Manning. It took him like 9 years to win his first Super Bowl.
Yes.
So obviously he will have more chances if they lose. But all of the doubts, all of the noise that has been there throughout his entire career, and he finally gets here. And if they don't manage to pull this one, I think he has more to lose than the opposite team, because again, they are a proven team. They won already. They've built a dynasty. It's pretty easy to say there is more in stake for the Ravens overall than there is for the Chiefs, because it's pretty similar. The Chiefs are gonna be there next year. We understand that Mahomes is not going anywhere, and unless there is a crazy turn of events and Andy Reid retires or something like that, we all expect the Chiefs to be at the top of the AFC potentially again next year, or just fighting
for the
that.
years to come. I guess probably.
Yeah. As long as Mahomes is there and they can put some guys around him, they're gonna be just fine. For the Ravens, it's gonna be a total different story, because what better chance would you have than this one you have in front of you? We have been talking about it. I am not the one of admitting that the Chiefs have had a bad year, but everybody else believes that they are the lesser version of the Chiefs.
Average.
Right? They are a lesser version of the Chiefs, and that this is the year that you can actually beat them. So before they go into the off season maybe losing, and they trying to revamp certain things, bring in some more pieces or something for them to get stronger next year. Before that happens, you want to win, right? And so if you're the Ravens, if you're Lamar Jackson, it's similar to Josh Allen, and we discussed this last week. It is now, right? Like, you need to take this opportunity and make it happen. So if they don't win, I think Lamar is the one that's, I mean, it's going to haunt Lamar forever.
Yes, I agree with you. I mean, for me, Lamar is in a race along with probably Mahomes, Josh Allen. Well, we have some young quarterbacks also coming in there, right?
Yeah.
But the thing is that Mahomes is too far away already. Two
Yeah,
Super
so
Bowls.
it's a clear cut number one. Like,
And
it's like
exactly.
Gretzky in hockey. Like, there wasn't anybody threatening the guy on that
Exactly.
first spot.
Exactly. So if he wants to get closer and start, showing up in that conversation of rivalries, of greatness, of, potential goats for this generation as well, he needs to step in on this game. And he needs, and he has a lot to lose, because if he doesn't make it with the team that he has, with everything that the Ravens, that the front office has put together around him, if he's not able to deliver here, it's going to be a tough loss for him. A lot of questions might raise up, and I don't think he's going to be able to handle that pressure, at least for the short term, or in the short term, right? Because it's very difficult when you're in a situation like this to just put it together again, yourself, right? And you putting it together again and just come up next year with a better performance. I mean, you're for sure going to get the MVP. So you're going to be the MVP of the season. So imagine what you have to do next season to actually overcome that and make it to the Super Bowl, right? And win the Super Bowl, actually, right?
Yeah.
So it's going to be way too. I think it's too much pressure, and I think it will add kind of like a stone that it's going to be too heavy for him to carry by himself. So for sure, he has a lot to lose, different than Mahomes. Mahomes, I mean, he's still super young. He has 2 Super Bowls.
Which I guess it becomes
6, 7, championship games, appearances.
and I guess that becomes the only argument in favor of Lamar Jackson if he doesn't put this together, and the Ravens team in general, which is and similar to Josh Allen and all the other rest of the guys, is gonna be like, what did you want me to do, bro? We're playing in the era of Patrick Mahomes. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, we're losing to this guy literally. Like, we just got unlucky. But again, I would like to see Lamar succeed. I think it's gonna be a beautiful story. Everything that he has overcome.
I think he deserves that.
The
He
development of his game. Again, all of the doubts. Everybody asking him to be a running back instead of a quarterback heading into the league. All of those things are in perfect ingredients for this to be similar to the Detroit story, one of the most beautiful ones that we have left in the season. And if he ends up winning, it's gonna be great. I'm gonna feel so happy for the guy if he wins, because
That's good. That's good.
Yeah.
It's good to hear that.
yeah,
Tell me
it's-
what's gonna be your prediction then on this one.
Yeah, I think it was. I mean, it was hard because I picked both of these teams to win last weekend, and again, my heart is kind of a split in that sense, where I would like to see Lamar winning and the Ravens, but I must stay with my Chiefs. What else do you want me to tell you? Until proven wrong.
I know
and
they're in a big capital
Yeah.
letters in your
Holy,
in your
they
notes.
are, actually, and the main reason for that is, again, Mr. Patrick Mahomes. I just don't want to bet against this guy. It's, bro, and let me
Let's
tell
see
you
how
why.
it goes.
Let me make a big quick break here because of why I'm traumatized with betting against these type of guys. It's one name. It's Tom Brady.
Okay.
Tom Brady made me lose so many predictions in the past that I learned my lesson. So when you have these type of guys, you have to bet for them and not against them. I learned the lesson the hard way, and that's why until I don't see Mahomes being knocked out, I will keep betting on this Chiefs team. And again, I'll be happy if Lamar wins and all of that, but I'm sticking with my Chiefs. I think we're seeing great things from the team. They're building the momentum at the right time. Everybody is starting to play the role. We saw Kelsey having a more than just a good, potentially a great game last week. Pacheco is a great threat. Rashid Rice is going to be there against if the defense, which is my X factor, shows up. I think they have a great chance of beating this juggernaut that the Ravens are. So I'm sticking to my Chiefs. I'm saying it's gonna be an actually kind of a low score game. I think it's gonna be too tight. And like you said, we have seen these two teams matching up before in the past years. Always close games, except by I think one that was a blow up by the Chiefs. So I think it's gonna be a 24-17 score for the Chiefs.
Oh, you have a lot of faith on that Chiefs defense.
Yes.
17 points only
Yes.
for Lamar Jackson and
Yes,
the Ravens offense.
I'm telling you, and it's not
Dude.
necessary. It's not necessarily that I think that the defense is gonna fully slow them down. I think they're gonna slow down themselves a little bit as well, because of what I saw, like my eye test of what I saw in the past game against the Texans. The first half of that game told me that there is a little something in this team that if it's not clicking, that might be something
Okay.
good for the opposing team. And so I think it's not necessarily that the defense is going to slow them down fully. I think they're going to slow themselves down a little bit as well. The only thing, and before I head into give you your turn, the only thing I just don't want to see at all on this game is the refs being the key factor or the defining factor. Please, I'm begging you, don't blow this thing up, please. That's all I'm gonna say.
Yes, and yes, I you have a lot of faith in that defense, and it's good you're going with your heart. Let's see how that pays off. Okay, for me on this one, I'm going with the Ravens. I guess you already know that.
Of course, because
they're
you
the better team.
I mean, you
They
have
are
been
the
wrong against
better-
the Chiefs. The Chiefs that crush your prediction week
Yes,
over week,
yes,
and so
yes.
you obviously want to see them fail here.
Yes, it's about our. It's all
It's
about
personal
ego.
already.
It's all about
It's
ego.
personal.
I need them to lose at this point because if not, then
Yeah, I'm gonna hunt you the
Jesus.
rest of the year.
Yeah, exactly. So, okay, no, as I said, I'm going with the Ravens, 31-28. I think we're going to see long drives, but scoring drives. We're gonna see just probably few punts, probably none.
So you're literally betting again on the other side of the coin, which is the defenses are not gonna be.
I think
Kind
it's
of
going
the-
to be
the
very
main thing.
difficult to stop either one of the offenses. Like, it's going to be very difficult to stop the Ravens. It's going to be very difficult to stop the running part of their offense.
Yeah.
And it's going to be very, very hard to stop Mahomes. So I think we're going to see long drives, just a few punts, and we're not going to see the type of game that it's going to be, with just a few points on the score. The Ravens won this year's matchup. It was, I think, week 2, week 3, something like that. And it was just a 3 points difference. And I think that the story is going to repeat kind of the same. So probably in the final drive, or if not, well, I think I'm betting it's going to be on the final drive.
That'll be exciting to watch for sure. Like
yeah.
every time that we have a close game that is heading into the fourth with again tie teams or high scores or just one field away from each other. Like all of those things are always amazing to watch.
Yes.
But yeah, I think I don't know. I think the potential for a higher score game is there because I obviously understand the Ravens score a lot. They blew up like everybody. Like most of the good teams got blown away by the Ravens this year. But I think this is one of those occasions where we will see the opposite. Again, I don't know. Something is telling me that it's going to be a low scoring game.
That's okay.
Yeah.
I
I trust my predictions.
yeah,
brother.
yeah. I think you're going with your heart, and it's good. You learn your lesson as well from
Yep.
from the NCAA championship game. So, yeah, I get it. I get it. All good. But well, again, exciting weekend. We're gonna have great matchups. We're gonna have a lot of fun. We're gonna enjoy the weekend.
Oh,
We're gonna enjoy that
100%.
Sunday. It's a good Sunday to stay at home, to watch good football, and just take the best out of it.
Yeah.
So I hope you have fun. I hope you nail your predictions.
Oh,
But the last one,
Oh my God. I was about to say you're so kind. See, he's
but
playing
yes,
with
I
me.
mean, we're gonna have a great weekend. So everyone there, just enjoy Sunday, enjoy watching football, and we're gonna talk about that more on Monday's episode.
Next episode is gonna be again loaded with great stuff, analyzing the games. You already know how it goes, and yeah, I'm faithful that my predictions are gonna go well.
And now we're going with our buzzer
Beaters.
Yes. So we're going with our buzzer beaters. Do you want to start with this part?
Yeah, let's go ahead and jump into other sports. You already know this is the Sporty Birds, the house of all sports. So we're gonna be covering a few of the latest updates around the sports world in other fronts. So we saw a couple of interesting hiring decisions in the past 48 hours. We saw,
Surprising, even like
yeah, kind of,
I was not expecting that to happen.
yeah. One of them, I think it was pretty evident that it was gonna happen.
Yeah.
And but this one, more talking about the NBA, it kind of got us by surprise, but kind of not at the same time because we saw a lot of tension building in Milwaukee with Adrian Griffin. The team was, I mean, we can all agree that it was not the same Bucks
Something
team, that it
felt
wasn't.
broken.
Right. Not sure. And again, this decision will be telling us, depending on what happens at the end of the season, if it was the coaching staff or not. But obviously, there is a big chunk of that has to do with the trade, bringing Damian Lillard, letting Drew Holiday go. I mean, that's a major loss, potentially a major win. Again, we'll see if it pays off at the end of the season or not. But we're talking about, again, Milwaukee and their coaching staff, more specifically their head coach, Adrian Griffin, got fired.
Fired.
He gone. He is gone.
A
And-
rookie one.
Yeah,
That-
and
that-
he
that's
had a
why it's so weird.
It was a 30-13 record or something, winning record. So it was a weird moment. But again, it speaks about the status of that locker room, the tension that was already there, and the front office listening to Giannis, obviously, because we understand this is a star league. The stars have a lot of saying in all these kinds of decisions. We saw LeBron James doing this in the past. Other stars obviously asking for trades, asking for people to come in, people to be gone. Like all of that happens normally in the NBA. So they decided to fire their head coach, Adrian Griffin, and almost instantly, like a
It was like an hour after.
yeah, it
something
was so
like that.
crazy.
I mean,
They already had this obviously negotiated, and the discussions were happening in the background because Doc Rivers is going to be the new head coach for Milwaukee, and he's back at being a head coach after being just like a few weeks in ESPN as a commentator or something. Now, you see, he's back. And before I drop you the question we have for this one, Jim Harbaugh, talking about football and the NFL,
going to the Rams.
he is not the Rams, brother. The Chargers.
Oh, the Chargers.
Come on
Sorry,
now.
the Chargers.
You see, come on.
LA. That's it.
Yeah, it is LA. It's the Chargers. Jim Harbaugh going back to his former team when he was a quarterback there.
Yes.
Now as a head coach, And we all kind of knew that this was building up. We know that he went through the interviews just last week. I think the process started, and again, it was one of the most interesting matchups potentially because of the type of quarterback they already have in Justin Herbert. And I think
It's gonna be fire. I
yeah,
think this is gonna
we
be
expect that
fire.
this is gonna be again a great collaboration here, and that they are gonna figure things out. Because I mean, me personally, I would love to see Justin Herbert, you know, succeeding again and being at the top and fighting for those playoff spots. It's gonna be tough. It's again that division, that conference. It's I mean, it's already dangerous. It's already like again. Kansas is not going anywhere. We have great teams in that.
We have great teams
It's
here.
gonna be hard.
The entire AFC, I guess it's going to be like it's loaded right now.
Yeah. We have the Texans coming. We know what they're doing. Again, the Ravens are not going anywhere, and I think this is
Maybe
bad.
the Browns might be better this year.
Yeah, I mean, if you ask a Browns team, they're gonna. I mean, a Browns fan, they're gonna say they're back into the playoffs next year, because if they did it with four
Yeah.
different quarterbacks this year, if they find the stability next year, I mean, so yeah, it's gonna be a tough conference to navigate through. We all know that. Bad news for for the Raiders and other teams that we're trying to come back next year, because
Yes.
I mean, this is a matchup that has a lot of potential. But again, Doc Rivers in Milwaukee, Jim Harbaugh heading into the Chargers in San Diego. Who do you think has the most pressure between these two?
That's an interesting one, but for sure, I think Doc Rivers and Milwaukee, because they are a established team. They are a potential winning all team. So if they don't make it, if this change proves something on the opposite side to what they are expecting, this is going to be major, not just for Doc Rivers, but for the players, for the front office, for the type of decisions. If these falls apart, and if he's not able, because I mean, Doc Rivers is a great coach, but he's not part of the greatest as well. So some doubt sometimes around the way he coaches, and the results he has had in the past. So I think this is risky. First of all, this is, I think, way too risky, and at this point of the season, with the record that they have. But they wanted to go with it. He's gonna have a lot of pressure, and hopefully it ends up in a good way. And I hope Milwaukee it's going to be. I hope they're going to be in the conversation for reaching the NBA finals, and at least the conference finals, something like that, right? But yeah, I think he's going to have a lot of pressure. In just while you answer me that as well, like who's going to have more pressure on your point of view, who do you think as well it's going to win first? Either like probably the Super Bowl or the NBA finals.
That's tough. That's tough, because what we just said about the NFL and the division and also the conference the Chargers are part of, it's gonna be hard to navigate through that. So I think if from these two, if Doc Rivers succeeds, I think he has the better chances of becoming a champion faster. Again, the Milwaukee Bucks are a proven team. They're champions already. Most of them are still there. So he has better chances of just replicating what they did in the past, whereas the Chargers will have to build the culture. Jim Harbaugh will have to bring his culture in. We'll have to see if things work out with his offense and the defense and everything. So I think, the potential for Doc Rivers is higher in the short term, at least. Long term, it's a different story. See what happens. And in regards of pressure, because of that same reason, I think Doc Rivers has the better chance of winning instantly. They have Giannis, which is still arguably a top 1, 2, 3 player in the world,
Yes.
depending on who you ask. And again, the roster is still pretty good. Damian Lillard came in. We know he can bowl. So he has a lot of pieces that sound like give him a great chance of succeeding. And he has the more pressure because of what you said. His history hasn't been great, right? He
Yes.
obviously was a champion with the Celtics, but after that, we saw what happened with the Clippers. He had great units, great teams in there, didn't work out. Then he ended up with Philly. It's kind of the same kind of thing happened. Obviously, we can give him a little bit of the benefit of the doubt with Philly because of all the controversy, what happened with Harden, whatnot, like the injuries and all that stuff. So it was a harder position to be at and deliver. But this time, if that team stays healthy, and they blew it up, I mean, I think that's gonna be it for Doug Rivers in the NBA if he doesn't win with this team quickly enough, or if you don't at least see that they are there like fighting and scratching and again close every single year, right? Obviously, the ultimate goal for them is gonna be to win. That's why I think they're also going kind of like all in on this move midway through the season. But yeah, the pressure is gonna be crazy high because of the talent you have on that team.
Yes. Yes, I agree on that, and I think he has the better chance to become a champion with his team. However, I don't think it's going to take that long for Harbaugh to be in the conversation as well with the Chargers.
Oh, hopefully, I'd love to see that because again, I love
Yeah.
my Justin Herbert. He's a gunslinger. That arm is crazy, and it's been
Yeah.
sad to not see him coming into the playoffs. I just want to see that happening. But anyways, let's move
Let's see
into
it.
more of our buzzer beaters because talking about coaches, Bill Belichick is in an interesting, very interesting to say the least situation right now. Most of the positions around the league that were open have
Everything's
been
closing.
filled. Yeah, so there is only like one or two or three, maybe potentially teams left. And it seems like the things with the Falcons are not necessarily as great and as secure as we all thought. And, Bill Belichick is at a potential risk of being
He's
jobless.
jobless. He's jobless.
Yeah, by the beginning
People
of the
were
next.
talking about Bill Belichick.
Yeah, he's the GOAT. Talking about coaches, and he is just sitting there. It seems like again the window is closing for him to get one of these positions. So, what do you think? What's going to happen with Belichick before the next season?
I hope I can see him coaching again in a different franchise. For me, it was the perfect time to leave for him, but he decided to stay. He's going to interviews, so I don't want to see him like leaving the field like this, like just like facing the fact that nobody else wants you as a head coach. I don't want to see him like this, like exiting this door. So I hope he can find a good team, a team either in the process of rebuilding something or a team that it's already kind of like built up. But I hope I can see him coach. I don't know if the teams that are left are a good match for him. That's the problem. I don't see him going
yeah.
to the Commanders or like those type of
Yeah,
teams.
Seattle. I think it's the other one that is
Seattle, yeah, I don't see
Yeah,
him
they let
like
go
going there.
Pete Carroll
And-
because he was aging and they want a younger
Exactly.
coach.
So
I wouldn't see
maybe
him
they're
going
looking
to
for
Seattle.
something like young blood.
Yeah, for
So
sure.
something
They
different.
are.
So again, I hope I can see him like coming to a good team. But it's becoming way too hard for that to happen. So I'm kind of worried about that as well. And yeah, I hope he makes the right decision. But it's just hard. I don't see him going to a different team than the ones we have talked about. So
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's going to be a very interesting situation because if the Falcons end up hiring somebody else, which I think it's Raheem Morris, the one that is under their scope right now. But if they end up going with that, what I think is going to happen with Bill Belichick is one of two things, or that should happen. Of course, he knows better and he will have the ultimate decision. But if you were to ask me, two things, two potential scenarios. One is that he sits out for 1 year. He waits. He just,
Sabbatical.
yep. He
Yeah.
looks around. He just refreshes his mindset, his energy, everything, and then he comes back after a year of resting to pursue that record, all-time record in winning. So that's a scenario number one. A scenario number two, which is a more interesting one for me, is he doesn't get any of these jobs, or he refuses to go to the ones that are not a good match, like the Commanders and against Seattle. And he just waits for the next season to start developing, because there are going to be coaches next year that are going to be
Hotspot.
100% Sirianni,
Yeah.
to mention just one example. If the Eagles doesn't turn things around quickly enough and they give us evidence that they're going to be just fine, that might be one, right? We are seeing some rookie coaches being hired, Raiders with, in their case, hiring. So I think those teams that have high pressure to deliver, if that's not happening, we start seeing coaches normally every year getting fired midway through seasons. And that's going to open interesting opportunities for Bill Belichick, and might even open opportunities that are even better. Because if you were to ask me, the Falcons are just not a good job right now. Not right now. I mean, maybe a couple years from now, it's going to be a different thing. And if you have the faith that you can build it up, I mean, be my guest, go for it. But you need to understand that it's going to take you probably 1 or 2 years before you can see that team going into something important. So I just don't think that's a great job for him. And we all want to see the guy again at a good level, competing, bringing his
With a good
culture.
team.
Yeah,
With a
yeah,
good
for
team.
sure.
Yes.
So I think waiting might actually be the best option for him right now, because again, a lot of things will develop, and who knows what happens.
I think the sabbatical would be a better choice for him.
Even Dallas.
I
bro.
don't think
even
yes.
Dallas could.
No,
like,
I agree, but I don't think. I mean, we've talked about this. He's probably the GOAT, right? When we talk about coaching in the NFL.
yeah.
So when you're at that age, when you have all that experience, when you have 6 Super Bowls in your hand that you can show off with, I don't think you want to come to a mid-season, role, head coach role, trying to save a team, and I don't see him like doing
But
something
it
like
depends
that.
on the team you're talking about, right? Because if you
But
were
you
to tell
can-
me you're gonna come here midway through the season to Dallas, midway through the season
You cannot turn
the
things around like
Eagles.
for teams that are just like falling apart. Like
I mean,
it's not.
if
it's
you
not
have
that
the right,
easy.
I think you can. If you're the right guy, you can. Because
It's
if they
not
fall,
that easy.
like
It's
if
not
they
that
fall
easy.
apart because of the coaching, then yes. But if they're falling apart just simply because the players are getting injured or
But
things
we're-
like
we're
that,
talking
that's a
about
different
teams
thing.
that are like they're not expecting to get to postseason. They're not expecting to win the championship game. They're like
No, but I'm
they're,
talking in
like
that- in
we're
that
talking
scenario-
about teams that
In that scenario, I'm talking about the other pool
will
of
need to win the
teams.
Super Bowl, right?
The other pool of teams, right? Because what I'm thinking is more of things that teams that you expect that are gonna be in the playoffs and they have a slow start, right? Even Buffalo, for instance, if Buffalo has another slow start next year, they might just decide to move away from McDermott, right? And who knows? Maybe it's a great opportunity for Bill Belichick, because now he has established quarterback. He has a very good weapons.
Close to Boston as well.
The defense might get their players back, obviously after the injuries. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, if it's a team that has expectations to go into the playoffs early in the year and it's not working, if they turn things around quickly and they try to move away from their head coach, that's an interesting opportunity for a Bill Belichick. Because then you're heading into a team that has the potential to go there. You just need to shake things around from a coaching standpoint. And again, it has to be the coaching, the factor that is not working. Because if it's injuries and other things, obviously we don't.
Yeah.
We know that that's not a great job to take, right? But if it's because of the coaching, that's a different story. But anyways, that's Bill Belichick. We'll see what happens with that. And let's just quickly run through the last couple of things. Australian Open is going on. We already talked about it the other day. The semifinals are developing pretty much
happening
as we speak. Yeah.
in 1 hour. We'll have one, and
Djokovic is facing Sinner, so it's number 1 against number 4.
Djokovic again.
Imagine,
Yes,
that's a surprise, isn't it?
semifinal,
Yeah,
of
you never,
course.
you don't
Probably
normally hear that.
the major that he enjoys the most as well. The one he has won the most as
Yeah,
well. So
yeah. So, of course, we understand
he feels
is,
at home
Yeah, he is in the GOAT argument, definitely,
for sure.
by far. So yeah, we'll see what happens with that. And the other one is Medvedev against Zverev. So it's number 3 against the number
Number
6.
6.
Both of those happening tonight and morning. I mean, Friday morning, and tonight, Thursday tonight. And we'll see how that develops because we're heading into the weekend with a potential great final. Whoever wins from
Yes.
these 4 is it's going to be a great competition to watch on the final. So that's Australian Open as it develops. And then last but not least, fresh news, we got the
NBA
All-Star teams. So really quickly, let's run through each of the rosters. The West has LeBron as their captain with the most votes as usual. And then we have Jokic, Durant, Shea, and Doncic. Great to see Shea in there.
Yes,
He's having a great year
that's a good one.
with the Thunder. And then on the
I'm
East,
glad he's there.
yeah, he deserves it for sure. And then on the East, by the way, the Thunder is the number 1 seed right now with the most wins, I think. Well, Denver is kind of like in there
Yeah,
as well. But
they're like
yeah, it's been a great year for the Thunder. And they're gonna be a problem because all these guys are pretty young. So it's one of those things that we hopefully see
we don't
succeed
see.
in the playoffs because a lot of them win through the regular season and then they start
they kind
the
of fall
opposite way
apart during
around,
the
but-
postseason. But well, hopefully we don't see with these Thunder the same that we saw like 7, 8, 9 years
10,
ago.
12. I don't know.
More?
Yeah, with Durant and Westbrook
Jesus,
and
yes,
Harden.
and
Yeah,
Harden.
it's been a long time.
It's
They are
been
all
10
they are like
years?
35 or something.
Ooh,
So yeah,
Jesus.
it's been more than 10
yes,
years.
Yes. So yeah, hopefully we don't see the same.
Yeah,
That's
we'll
my
see.
point.
We'll see. And it's an interesting thing because we have Czech Holmgren right there, and we know that Wemby is in San Antonio. So this matchup, this rivalry could be something special. So we'll see if that happens. But on the East, we have Giannis as the captain with Tatum, Embiid, Damian Lillard, and Tyrese Halliburton. Who do you think wins this year between these two?
This is a good one, but I'm going to go with the West. Yeah, I think it's going to be the Western Conference.
I think it's gonna be the East. Not gonna lie. I'm not
Of
gonna
course,
lie.
you have to go against.
No.
against me.
I mean, I would love because you know me. I'm a Lakers
Yeah.
fan. You know me. I would like to see LeBron. I love Kevin Durant.
yeah,
I
I
love
know.
Doncic's game. I mean, all of these guys are great, but Embiid is. We saw Embiid drop 70 points the other day.
Yes.
70
No,
points.
I mean, this is always close, and it's always fun to watch. This is one of those all-star games that it's fun to watch.
Damn it, and we have Damian Lillard now in the East, bro. Like, what? Oh my God. Yeah, it's gonna be the East. There is no way. Tatum, Giannis, Embiid, Damian, and Halliburton, which is bowling as well. It has to be
Okay.
the East, bro. Has to be
Going
the
with the
East.
West. Yes.
We'll see what happens. That's more of that, and the All-Star game and the trade deadline. Also, that's gonna be full of excitement on the NBA as every year with all the trades that probably will happen along the way. But yeah, that's about it for today. It's been a great episode loaded with great stuff,
A lot
great
of
news,
things,
a lot of
you know, a
moments.
lot
It's
of
it's so many. Every time we record these episodes, I mean, the word of sports gives us something to
many
talk
things.
about. Something to talk about. So yeah, we're thrilled that we are here, and if you're still here with us, we appreciate you. Thank you very much for all the support. We're seeing the comments come in. We're trying to pay attention to our community, bring the topics that you want to hear and you want us to cover. So we're going to continue doing that. So make sure you subscribe to the channel, turn on the notifications, all of the good stuff. Drop comments, share it, all in. Go all in.
Everything. Yeah, and we're loving this. We really like talking about sports. So also, as Dylan said, drop your comments. Tell us what you think about the topics we discussed today. Tell us your predictions. Tell us Who do you think has more pressure, Doc Rivers or Jim Harbaugh? I mean, go ahead, just do your job. That's it. Okay.
Yeah, you have one homework as usual. So thank you very much again for the love. We appreciate you. My guy, it's gonna be a great weekend. And
Let's enjoy. Let's enjoy this.
I'm
because
gonna
it's
enjoy
going to be
it.
Loaded.
Yeah, I'm gonna enjoy it, and we hope you also do it. And we're gonna come back at you on Monday with all of our results. Best
It's
of
gonna
lucks.
be amazing. Amazing.
Best of
My
lucks, because I already know who's gonna win this weekend.
Go Ravens.
Come on, where are my Chiefs? Let's go. Let's get it. Peace out, guys.
See you. Bye.